Hi, so today I'll be teaching you how to make fufu. Were you around when fufu was trending on TikTok and it was like the must-have food, and all these African businesses that didn't really see customers before were slammed and they could barely fulfill product because it went viral on TikTok and everybody just had to have it. Well, today I'm going to teach you how to make your own fufu so you don't have to spend your own money and make it. So basically, fufu originated in Ghana. Ghana is a small country right next to Nigeria in the continent of Africa, and the capital of Ghana is Accra. And fufu is not just a staple dish all over the continent, but also it has really good health benefits such as vitamin C. It helps the gut health, helping like pass old food. It makes you use the restroom a lot. So a lot of us Africans eat that whenever we're feeling sick. We eat it with different soups and things like that to help us feel better. And at the same time, fufu is like, it's been around for a long time. It's been for generations, years. Fufu has turned into, we have different kinds such as pounded yam, which is white, amala, which is brown, and eba, which has more like a grainy wheat texture. Fufu is basically a powder mixture that I don't want to tell you too much yet until I get into the instructions on how to make it, but it's basically just a powder mixture that you mix with water and then it will turn into something at the end. So now I'm going to get more into the intrigue part on how to actually make fufu itself. So the first thing you want to do when you make fufu is you want to have 3 ingredients: a spoon, a pot of water that you're gonna put on the stove to boil, and your fufu mixture. So you need those 3 things. If you don't have those 3 things right now, stop this video, go get it, and then resume. Okay, I'm gonna give you 3 seconds. Okay, I hope you have your ingredients. So first thing you wanna do is you wanna take your water in your pot. It depends on who you're making it for, but this is something that I use to feed my family. So I'll put water in that and I'll put it on high heat so I can boil quicker, and I'll wait for that to boil. And then once you hear your water boiling or see it steaming, the first thing you want to do is make sure it's hot. The fufu won't like cure and get thick unless the water's really hot. So if the water's not hot, maybe wait a little more until like the water's really boiling. So once you have your water boiling, I'm gonna move you over here. Okay. So once your water's boiling, you're gonna open your pot. I'm not gonna actually make fufu, but I'm gonna demonstrate. So once the water's boiling, you wanna slowly pour in, and while you're pouring, you wanna make sure you're stirring. So that can help you make sure that you're still cooking, because you don't want the fufu to burn. So you wanna make sure it's like you're making a roux, like Creole roux, when you put flour in the pot, and you don't want the flour to burn, so you have to keep mixing while you're adding the flour. That's the same thing with fufu. You wanna make sure that while you're adding your fufu, you're mixing in the water, and then soon you'll realize that while you're doing that, the fufu is getting thick. And the thicker the fufu gets, it means that it's cooking. So the thicker it gets, the less fufu mixture you're gonna add, because you don't want to be too grainy, but you don't want it to be too like watery and loose, more like a slime texture. So once you do that and you see that your fufu is getting hard, that's when you stop adding the mixture and you just mix it. So it's kind of like when you're making like pizza dough, you want to keep kneading it and kneading it and kneading it until it gets into that smooth texture like a dough would, like when you're baking. The same thing with fufu. So you're gonna keep mixing it and mixing it and mixing it and kneading it into the dough and flipping it into each other until it's that smooth texture that you want it. And so next, in the recipe actually by Immaculate Bites, they stated that to get your fufu into the perfect ball shape, you should use your hands. So get your hands a little wet because the fufu will be hot. Get your hands a little wet, and then you put your hand in there and grab the fufu and you flip it over, and you go like this. So you keep them and you place it down into your bowl. So we covered the steps on how to make fufu and how to get that perfect ball shape, but I want you to really understand what the science, not the science, but the reasoning behind why we eat fufu so much. The thing is, fufu is so versatile. Like African culture has so many different soups and stews that you can eat fufu with. That's why we love to eat it so much, because we can literally eat it with spinach. We can eat it with we have this thing called ewedu, so it's like leaves, blended leaves. We can eat it with that. We have tomato soup. We have so many kinds of things, so it's so versatile. So when you're feeling a different mood, you may be able to try a different soup that you never would have tried before. So now that we covered all the bases of how to make fufu, now it's time for you to actually eat it. So I would hope that when you made this fufu, you had stew waiting on the side so that you can finally plate it and eat it with the stew. But the way you're gonna eat the fufu is you're gonna wet your hands and you're gonna grab like this, like a little small portion, like you're making like a small dough. You're gonna grab it and then you dip it inside the stew and you eat it like this. I hope you learned something today on how to make fufu. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me in the video and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Have a great day.